Good evening, descendants of Erdrick. We have ourselves some intense Dragon Warrior Randomizer Summer Tournament races, including tonight's broadcast of a quad here, 2 races playing the same seed simultaneously. We are in the round of 24 brackets, elimination time for the tournament. Both of these matchups have played their first race, so this is the second race, best of 3 for each of these matchups. So possible eliminations here. At the top, we have Darren versus ryguy3745, and on the bottom, we have Pav versus Smashy. All 4 runners will be playing the same seed. The results of the top 2 only matter between Darren and ryguy, and the same with the results of Pav versus Smashy. A potential winner go home for ryguy and Smashy, and a possible clinching of top 16 moving on to the next round for Darren and Pav. High excitement and high stakes here. Good evening. I am Destiny of a Dragon Warrior. I'm joined by the rest of our broadcast team of volunteers tonight. Vela V pulling double duty of restreaming and joining me on co-commentary momentarily. And RG and Shihali on tracking. Taking a look at the opening stats here, we have 19 strength to start with, so we'll be able to fight a lot of those early enemies and get off the ground, no major roadblock in the way. And we have a raid from Hoodie Two Shoes. Welcome, Hoodie and friends. We are just about to kick off. Hope the race over there was exciting earlier on. And here we go. All 4 players getting set. We are going to get instructions from the king. Tell us that we need to retrieve the ball of light, defeating the Dragon Lord to restore peace, blah, blah, blah. Opening chests are both gold.
They're rich.
So
Find a town. I'm here. Sorry to cut you off there, Destiny. How you doing tonight?
I'm great, Vela V. Thanks so much for getting the runners off here and getting our restream going. Let's take a look at what we have outside. No immediate town or cave in sight.
Yeah, they're looking for that town with that starting money. Like Pav has enough to grab a broadsword if he can find one. That's a great thing to start with. A large shield start would be nice. You don't necessarily need anything super great for a weapon when you have 19 strength, but being able to spend your starting gold is always a nice thing. But it doesn't look like they're getting that option as we start fighting Drakies and stuff.
And we get 7 more power here at level 2. Darren, the first of our 4 runners to get level 2, so up to 26 strength, as well as the spell of Outside.
Early Outside's nice for getting that before you do your treasure diving in the instances when you want to get out of the caves quickly and don't want to die to do it.
Let's see, ryguy hit level 2, Smashy's hit level 2, Pav should be there shortly. Yeah, no towns so far that we've seen. A couple of runners are sitting down on a grind. We see a metal scorpion zone 2 there for Darren. Tiptoes over into another direction. Finds a wolf with DL2 breath. Ouch.
Yeah, DL2 wolf isn't great. Wolf is usually a really good monster when you're in this kind of 20-ish to 30-ish attack power. They're really good 40 experience points and squishy enough to fight most of the time, but not when they've got that DL2. Looks like we've got a metal slime on Pav's side.
Not quite the metal slime that we're hoping for. First of all, it has weak fire breath, so dealing more damage than usual. And because our players are all over 20 strength now at level 2, those metal slimes are going to be prone to be running away.
Yep, so not the slimes we're looking for. Match Drakey's a pretty nice get. Skeleton's a pretty nice get.
Yeah, these enemies will take them up to level 3, 4, 5 pretty quickly. Looks like simultaneous level 3s from Pav and Smashy. 4 more power. 4, 1, 4, 10 are the stats at level 3.
A little bit of magic to cast that outside spell, yeah.
We're going to be outsiding our way all the way to a town that doesn't exist. Oh, there's a tough enemy on the overworld already. A golem sends Ryguy home. Each time the players take a death, they're going to lose half of their gold, so their starting totals of around 1,500 is decreasing rapidly.
Yeah, without anything good in the first couple of zones, you have to go out to where the Sharlock monsters are, and they're going to just collect all of that for Dragon Lord tax. But we did see the blue dragons have hurt, which is not the worst thing in the world to see on a blue dragon.
Yeah, store that information away later. Looks like level 4 for Ryguy, 3, 4, 11, 2. Nice to see a little bit of HP boost there, and strength continuing to grow, but nothing super exciting, no healing, no hurt more.
Yeah, with golems and blue Ds and stuff in the field just out there and nothing nearby, you're going to want a decent amount of health or some healing or something before you really branch out. Looks like Pav is making another attempt to explore, trying to keep to the forest so that his encounters aren't too high. He knows to run from the wolves now. It's about the furthest I think we've seen anybody get, as I hear a ding on Darren's side. I've been calling him Daxon in my head for the longest time, and I apologize for that. I'm getting used to saying Darren.
And at level 5, we learn heal more, so it's a little bit of excessive healing for 51 HP, but it's nice to have that early healing spell.
Yeah, getting a nice early heal is good. Heal more. You know, you have 2 casts of it at this point, but it's better than nothing. It lets you stick to the grind longer and just really stretch out that level 5 so that you can get to level 6 quicker.
Sure, most of our viewers are familiar with the goal of Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Same as the vanilla game, collect the Silver Harp, Airdrix token, Stones of Sunlight to get the Rainbow Drop to enter Sharlock Castle and defeat the Dragon Lord. We have our first town on Pav's screen. They're going to have a search spot there. Originally the Fairy's Flute, but the randomizer will move that to a different item potentially. We get a bamboo pole purchase. Not a whole lot of gold remaining, but gets a pole and a chainmail, and that small shield.
Pole, chainmail, small shield. Also, Cole sells all of the shields here, so small, large, and silver. If a gold grind emerges, then that silver. Well, there's an Erdrick's armor. That chainmail was a wonderful purchase. It's a good way to hack it into the game, is to buy an armor, and then your next search spot has the armor. That worked.
I don't think it would have changed anything, except Pav would have 300 extra gold, but most players would search that spot with that knowledge of a potential sword or armor. On the other hand, if you buy that gear, the joke is that you're manipulating the armor or the sword in that location, and Pav successfully did that and got the armor. So it'll be important for the other players to reach that armor. Remember, it's 2 separate races, Darren and Ryguy against one another, and then Pav and Smashy on the bottom against one another. So it's going to be beneficial for Smashy to find Cole as soon as possible, as Pav gets level 5 as well here.
Absolutely. People don't understand how smart this game really is, and that like the seed is communicating with the other emulators across the internet. So as soon as Pav manipulated that armor in, it put the armor in there on the seeds for everybody else. Can't convince me that that's not the way that it works.
That's exactly how it works. Yeah, absolutely. So Darren is up to level 6, got a little bit more strength, a little bit more HP, 7 more HP, and the spell of sleep might be helpful on some of these enemies. It'll be helpful getting away from Stonemen if they ever get encountered. But Pav is going to be defense breaking a lot of these Zone 2 enemies here now. Should be able to quickly gain experience and get the benefit of heal walking. That Airdrix armor, quite powerful.
Yeah, I feel like he walked quite a far distance following the... it was a coastline, like the coast was to the southwest of him. I'm not going to call it the southwest coast, but, you know, relatively that's what it was. And then north a bit.
We just saw more friends on the overworld on Ryguy screen got sent home by a red dragon, and there's another blue dragon there for Pav. Doesn't give the hurt, gives the powerful shot there. It's nice to have Erdrick's armor, but it's still not enough to survive a hit early on here from the blue dragon.
Yeah, if he were like a 75% hurt blue dragon, though, that would be pretty sweet with a little more attack power. And Erdrick's armor, especially, right? Because then the hurts are only doing like 2 or 3 damage. You could potentially take one down at level 5 if he had, you know, better than a bamboo pole and the strength that they've got. But like, you could imagine a world where you're killing blue dragons at level 6. It's not this world. But this is Randomizer, so we can imagine all kinds of worlds. And one of them is out there, somewhere.
We've seen some pretty wild seeds so far with some impressive strength, stat gains, and a lot of early heal mores and hurt mores, some level 16 heal mores. We get to see the full gamut of what the randomizer can roll here as we see so many different seeds throughout the summer tournament. Smashy is our last participant here, still at level 5, everyone else at level 6. I'm curious once Darren and Ryguy hit level 7 if they'll start to explore a little bit. Looks like we are getting a bit of exploration here from Darren going towards the southeast.
Yeah, interesting fight there on Pav's screen while that was happening. Like, he found himself a wolf. He's got the sleep spell at level 6, so he's trying to use that to take down the wolf, but every time it wakes up, it's got that big breath. But he was able to take it down, but it definitely was probably not worth the time and resources to keep hunting him. But he is in that zone. It does have metal scorps. It does have warlocks. There's pretty decent stuff in this desert here.
We see a town on Darren's screen in the middle of all of the swamp tiles. And it's Cantlin, the shopping mall of Alefgard.
That's right. Cantlin's got 3 shops in it. We've got silver shields here too, but he picks up a hand axe, a good use of that money. Hand axe can take you all the way to Erdrick's sword. He nopes right out of there. Nothing else to get for now.
Hand axe money. If it would have taken one more death in the middle of that, wouldn't have had hand axe money. So good fortune there, having just enough gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Cantlin also has the coordinates, but without keys, they can't check whether those coordinates exist.
So with the nice strength boost at level 7 plus the hand axe, Darren is up to 72 attack power. You can certainly fight a good deal of early and middle game enemies with that.
Now, do you see these diagonal little lakes on Darren's screen here? Those, to me, are the trolliest of lakes, and I feel like they're relatively new. Like, I don't remember seeing them so much, but they seem to be fairly regular, these diagonal lakes that it looks like there's a path, but there isn't, or it looks like there's not a path, but there is. Like in this case, it looks like there's not a path, but there is. I am not a big fan of those diagonal lakes, is the point that I'm saying there. They mess me up when I'm playing.
Yeah, that's tricky. If you're not careful looking at that setup, I believe there was 4 of those in a diagonal cutting off the path, but there was one open spot there at the bottom to sneak around and be able to progress to Cantlin. Smashy finds Cole and picks up Erdrick's armor, so now both Pav and Smashy in the bottom race have armor. Neither Darren or Ryguy have made it to Cole in the top race to get armor.
Yeah, so we've got armor equivalents on the bottom. Now, I don't think that the armor has played a huge role in the XP difference, although the armor is allowing Pav to fight these wolves, and so he's on a dedicated grind here. Kind of depends on what Smashy decides to do with it. Smashy has seen this zone. I've seen him fighting the warlocks and stuff there, so he might go back to it. He might keep exploring, but Pav can continue to expand this gap if he sits on a dedicated grind here. And it looks like he's figured out how to do the wolves without losing too much MP.
Yeah, that makes sense. You've got decent power. You've got Erdrick's armor, so you've got heal walking, your defense breaking these enemies. You're not compelled to push exploration with the logic of what else am I going to find that's going to be immediately helpful. Sure, Erdrick's sword would be awesome to stumble upon, but fairly low likely to stumble upon that early. You sit and consistently stay safe and build up experience so you have survivability when you're ready to push out. Maybe get some more hit points, get some more MP to cast heal more than 3 times.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, that said, after level 8, these monsters probably aren't cutting it anymore for the XP, but, you know, that also all depends on what the stats come with it, too, you know. If this is all you can fight, then it's still a pretty good zone. But you kind of start to hate it when those levels get further and further apart as we get 1 power, 8 speed, 3 hit points, and 15 magics, but no new spells. Maybe we do sit here and keep fighting the wolf.
Yeah, that is a decent MP boost, however. That's a couple more heal mores to make use of. Ryguy found the town of Cantlin and is going to clear this dead end here to the east and all of those swamp tiles.
I'm glad our trackers noticed that as well. This actually is a full Wombo wolf. It's got a 25% sleep on him as well.
Aha! So that's a good idea for Pav to be casting sleep on these guys when he can, just to make sure that he's not put to sleep or gets blasted with that breath, even though the Erdrick's armor does reduce it. Getting hit for a range of 42 to 48 is still painful.
Yeah, the way he was able to take those down was by casting the sleep. His first wolf that he fought took forever because it kept waking up and fire breathing him, and he had to heal more. But it looks like he likes it. It's right next to home, so I mean, their dying isn't that huge of a deal. Looks like Smashy is now perhaps in that same... Yeah, he's in that same desert.
Ryguy cleared a couple of dead ends to the east. Darren has been sitting here grinding, hit level 8. And now Darren looks like might be heading out to the north. I believe Cole was mostly to the east, maybe a little bit south. Did you get that, Valevi, of the direction on Cole for the armor?
I felt that it was to the west. Like, I felt like... to me, it seemed like Pav was following a coast to his south and west and, you know, traveling north in that general direction. But I could be wrong. I could be conflating that with a different out.
Oh, no, you're right. Brain said west, mouth said east. That's never happened before. No. Just ask Artorias in our co-op games.
I've certainly never transposed that when writing coordinates down before, ever, I swear. And searched the wrong side of the map.
So Smashy gets a little bit of the exploration, finds that same east dead end, and the desert tiles get sent back home. Darren and Pav both continuing to grind here, slow and steady, building up that experience. 975 experience is the threshold for level 9.
Like Darren's in the middle of a metal slime fight that's sticking around. He did get at least one swing on it. I saw that slime flash red for a moment.
Oh, and Smashy's runs away. But Darren gets the metal slime down. That's a big 255 experience boost. So Darren just short of level 9. Meanwhile, Ryguy still yet approaching level 8.
Level's coming slowly but surely for our runners. It's not a jet, but I wouldn't quite call it a slog either. Certainly much better for Pav and Smashy, who's found their armors. Oh, Axe Knight for Darren. Blue Dragon for Ryguy. Neither of those are things that you want to see right now.
I know we had noted hurt on the Blue Dragons. I don't know if we had noted sleep on them, but I saw that Blue Dragon had put Ryguy to sleep.
So you're saying these are very stop-spellable blue dragons? Not that you
totally
really want to
means,
be
stop
fighting
spell
blue
at level
dragons.
16, right?
Yeah. Like, I guess it doesn't make them that appealable, more appealable of a fight, I guess. I just wanted to see it happen at level 6, that's all.
Stop spell from the Axe Knight. That's interesting. Smashy runs away from it. Looks like Smashy is exploring west. I was going to say possibly the north coast as well, but that's a false coast. We see Sharlock there on Darren's screen, so getting a little bit more exploration between all of the runners here. Pav's still sitting on that zone. Pav might be able to get level 9 here shortly.
Yeah, he's just a few points off. He's that Warlock, but this Wolf here should do it, unless it happens to lock him into the Sleep Wombo. 2 swings and it's down. Alright, so let's see what comes with level 9. We get ourselves 14 response speed, 18 hit points, 2 magics. That's enough to make me want to go out. The hit points and the defense make all the difference in the world, whether it's running from blue dragons or surviving a hit from them. Yeah, go find stuff.
Yeah, definitely. 85 HP, that's potentially enough to get close to surviving 2 Dragon Lord breaths. And yeah, definitely feels like time to push. I wouldn't want to hang around and get level 10 on Wolves either. So we'll see how that exploration goes for Pav. Smashy is also doing exploration, although still at level 7. Ryguy taking another death home. I think Ryguy is in the lead for finding all the Sharlock enemies and getting sent back to Tantagel. We've got a cave on Darren's screen.
Right, freebie cave has Erdrick's sword. Look at that.
Wow, so Erdrick's sword within walking distance of home, as well as Erdrick's armor. Quick recap, we had double gold chests in the start. We had a decent strength. The 2 bottom players found coal, which had Erdrick's armor. The top 2 players in the separate race have not found Erdrick's armor in the town of Coal, but Darren just found the Stones Cave with Erdrick's sword and sees another town on screen. Wow.
Yeah, so whatever direction Darren went, which I have no idea where on the map he is, was a pretty good direction to go. He's got to get through these wizards and things to get there. But he can fight them now that he's got the sword. That's going to be worth a big old chunk of experience. 1500 is level 10, and this will get him very, very much more closer than he was to that. A couple more wizards and you're golden.
Yeah, even though Darren doesn't have Erdrick's armor, with 85 HP and heal more, you can fight a lot of enemies with the good strength stats and Erdrick's sword. And the town for Darren is Garenham. Meanwhile, Ryguy, just a step behind Darren, also picks up Erdrick's sword. Would you look at that? The top 2 players have the sword, the bottom 2 players have the armor.
Yep, and I was about to say something about Ryguy playing the cat strats, and maybe Darren just the cat distribution system got him being followed by a cat, but the blue dragon said no, we're gonna put a halt to that. We'll see if Ryguy continues to go that way to find Garenham, or perhaps he explores in a different direction. This could be a blessing in disguise if this points Ryguy towards the armor and he just has sword armor all at once.
Smashy tried a metal slime and was not able to take it down. Pav holding a pretty solid experience lead over Smashy, although at this point in the race, a couple hundred experience, not certainly sealing the race, but a little bit of ground that Smashy's going to need to be making up here. And Vela V, you called it, man.
Blessing in disguise, that's it. Sometimes the blue dragons do you a favor, and this time it did Ryguy a tremendous favor, especially with him having an experience point deficit, having both of those things. We'll see what he decides to do with it, but yeah, this is great for Ryguy. He could take that cloud of expletives and put them back inside of himself and save them for later.
Yeah, it's always interesting in races when you find certain items or things progress a certain way. I always assume that I've made every inefficiency and that my opponents right ordered everything, and I always feel behind. I'm curious what share of players also feel that, and could certainly feel that way here with both sword and armor somewhat close to home. Well, armor certainly was close to home. The sword was a bit of a hike, but both Darren and ryguy got there. Pav makes his way to Catelyn. I don't think Pav has been in Catelyn yet, but we're not going to get a coordinates check without keys. That could be the next big breakthrough in the seed, is getting keys.
Yeah. I don't think ryguy realizes he has 98 attack power. I saw him run from a werewolf there, which I totally would have fought. We know that wizards are downable, and if wizards are downable, werewolves are pretty close too.
Yeah, this might be a matter of ryguy in particular, with both sword and armor, finding some good enemies to fight and a good place to grind and get some experience. Exploration, you certainly want to keep on continuing to find towns and caves, but the items that you're going to be finding aren't going to be immediately helpful necessarily. I think with the sword and armor, you want to be taking good enemies, which are tough to find. It's either Zone 2 or Sherlock enemies.
Yeah. Now, on the bottom screen, Smashy just found the staff trading cave, and then this swamp here has another new cave next to it. Pav has found Catelyn, and so he did a little bit of shopping. I think he picked up herbs there. But it looks like it is the swamp cave in a swamp. It's well placed.
Logical. Randomizer makes some sense there. And Smashy was finally able to take down a metal slime, so that closed the experience gap somewhat here against Pav.
Yeah, that absolutely put Smashy back into the bottom race. I was a little bit worried when I saw the XP gap, but he was fighting the metal slime and he got it down, and like, okay, this is pretty close again. And look, 2 towns right outside of the cave. One of them is Rimbledar, a fantastic town to find. We haven't seen keys anywhere. We haven't seen any real treasure caves anywhere yet. But with Rimbledar, you can purchase them for 53 gold each. I expect Smashy will buy a whole stack. There's a chest that he can spend 2 gold on, or rather 2 keys on to check in here. And then, of course, there was another town just over there. Now, that's got to be, what, Hawksness or Brecconary, I think. I'm pretty sure we've seen everywhere else.
Yeah, we sure have. And having keys opens up the Tantagel Treasury and the Catelyn for coordinates and the 3 chests and the cave behind Garenham. Really a lot of checks here for Smashy to start banging out.
Darren finds coal, so he will have both of Erdrick's equipment here momentarily, putting that advantage back on him. We no longer have equipment parity on the top race. But ryguy has found Hawksness. And so he will probably see what's on that check there, and who knows, it might be a grindable thing.
We get a Brexit on Smashy's screen. Wow, tons of new locations all at once. There was a torch in the Remolder chest, so nothing of consequence there. And a golem is our enemy on the Hawksness spike. Got a crit!
It was a very nice crit. And oh, that was ryguy cast heal more, not the golem. I was worried for a second there that the golem casted that. Anyway, he gets it down, picks up his 350, and underneath is Silver Heart. And there's metal slimes here.
3 rainbow drop components.
Yeah, hey, those rainbow drop components, you gotta get them. He hasn't seen the staff trading cave, so it's at least ordered properly for ryguy. We've got a death necklace in the top chest of the thing. Fairy water bottom left. Middle chest is gold. Bottom right is also gold in the treasury. So Tantagel is loaded today. Four of the 7 chests have had gold in them.
Ryguy gets level 10 on a metal slime, so to my knowledge, Pav is the only player who is not lucked into a metal slime defeat. Was patient with the grind, but ooh, there's a metal slime for Pav. See if he can take it down if he attempts that. But Pav is the only player, yeah, without a metal slime taken down so far. Interesting.
Looks like we got a big strength boost at level 10. Ryguy picked up some more levels. I think he was fighting metal slimes there in Hawksness after that golem. He meets a blue dragon here. He runs from it. But yeah, big strength pickup there. Maybe other stats too.
Meanwhile, more new locations. This is hard to keep track of. So Smashy has found Mountain Cave. Gets a key in the first chest there. Already has a set of keys. The only player with keys so far.
Actually, no. We found Rimmildar on who went through the tunnel. Somebody went through the tunnel and found Rimmildar.
Ah, okay.
But it means that that's not the only place to get them, right? You can get them out the mountain. Plate Skeleton. This is the bottom of Tentagel. So that was Smashy that found the keys. He is the only one with keys. You have to get the key to find the key.
I saw a seed recently where the loose keys were all in the Sharlock Treasury. Thanks, game.
Haha, lovely. We got Red Slime as a treasure guard here. He's guarding a hand axe. I think it is an herb grind.
Well, you spoke it into existence, Valevi. Pav just did find Rimmildar and is going to get keys as well. So Pav gets keys just like Smashy here in the bottom race.
Yeah, it's interesting how like the bottom race has followed a very similar path and the top race has followed a very similar path, but not like crisscross applesauce, just across horizontally.
And of course, staying true to that, Darren finds Hawksness. And either a key or an herb in the last chest in Mountain, so not much down there in Mountain of value. Oh, was one of the chest stones. RG keeping an eye on the glitched chests.
I'm not sure. Hopefully we will see Smashy's inventory again.
It's possible. He did a quick check after chest 4 in Mountain. Yep, Stones of Sunlight.
There we go. So everybody will get that, once they find the keys. Key is the main thing, though. You got to find that Rimmildar, which is just through the swamp. Really, swamp is the key to Rimmildar, which is the key to keys, which is the key to, like, literally every door in the game.
Ryguy has the Staff of Rain trade in Cave. Already got the Silver Harp from Hawksness, so is able to acquire the Staff of Rain there.
I missed it looking, but it looks like Darren died to the golem, so he didn't see the check underneath or the harp, and he'll have to go back for that.
We're going to get a Swamp Spike check. I'm not sure if we've seen that yet. It's an Axe Knight. Meanwhile, Smashy is back in Cantlin, possibly doing some shopping, and a possible coordinates check here with keys. All right, let's see if we have coordinates and where they are. 35 north, 21 west. That seems pretty easy to walk in to count. Don't think we're going to see a Gwaelin rescue with those coordinates today. So with both the Death Necklace found, what we have outstanding is the token and the Fairy Flute is the knowledge that we have here, seeing all 4 players. So one of those 2 items is going to be our coordinates search. Darren's going to take another shot at the Golem here in Hawksness. Full resources. Should be able to take down the Golem as long as there's not a risky swing here on lower HP.
Yeah, you just gotta, keep those heal mores up. You've got the MP, get this one fight down. It's not like you're trying to sustain a grind. Just be safe with it and he'll be fine. Fight it like a Dragon Lord.
Ryguy's been sitting on the Axe Knight here in Swamp Cave. Hit level 11 is up to 93 hit points.
Yeah, and he's just shooting up the experience. He has the overall experience point lead. I think he was the overall experience point under lead earlier. So has completely swung that around once he got that sword and armor combo.
Took him a little bit, but found a grind that Ryguy likes and is sitting on that. Going to be hitting level 12 after one more Axe Knight after this. Smashy is counting the coordinates. We'll keep an eye on Smashy's screen, see if we get a token pickup or a fairy flute.
Like Pav has found his Rimmildar Breckenary Swamp Cave combo. Chat asking, why are we running for metal slimes? At some point, metal slimes kind of aren't worth it because it's a very long fight. And most of the time it doesn't result in you winning, it results in them running away. So oftentimes you just take a bunch of damage and don't get anything from it. And these metal slimes in particular, they have Dragonlord 2 breath, so it's not like they're just punching you.
Metal slimes are typically more valuable and worth the risk reward earlier in the game. At this point, you're able to get that 255 experience fighting other enemies. Like 2 Axe Knights here for Ryguy is 1 metal slime, much faster and much more reliable. Smashy found the Stones Cave and picked up Erdrick's sword, so Pav is our only player so far that has not seen that cave and not gotten Erdrick's sword.
And yeah, I apologize. If I said deal 2 breath, I meant just fire breath. Either way, he's not hitting you for 2, he's hitting you for, 12 to 20. Which is much more annoying. So everybody kind of finding all of the things. I feel like exploration has almost balanced out. What, we haven't seen the grave yet, which I feel like has to be behind Garenham. Have we seen the back of Garenham?
We have not. None of the players with keys, which at this point is just Pav and Smashy, have made their way back to Garenham. So, we haven't seen Tablet Cave yet either. So I believe Tablet or Grave could be underneath Garenham.
Gotcha. 2 caves left. 1 location where we know where is.
And a quick recap of what is at stake. We have 2 separate races playing the same seed. The top 2 players, Darren and Ryguy, are in a one-on-one race. The 2 bottom players, Pav and Smashy, are in a one-on-one race. This is game 2 of a best of 3 series for both matchups. Darren was victorious in game 1 over Ryguy, and Pav was victorious over Smashy in game 2. So Ryguy and Smashy are looking to even things up and take the series to game 3, while Darren and Pav are looking to sweep and move on to the next round of the Summer Tournament.
Level 13 came with another big boost to lots of double-digit stats. We're still not quite there yet. I think he's sitting on 123 attack power. But we are certainly starting to get close. So Ryguy feeling like I need to go actually walk through this swamp and find the keys that are on the other side and do some of the exploration, get the rest of the homework done, because it doesn't matter what level you are, if you don't have the rainbow drop, you're not fighting a Dragonlord.
That's for darn sure. It certainly makes it easier to fight and survive on the overworld and probably repel undesirable encounters with additional stats. And that grind for that Axe Knight for Ryguy, massive experience gain in a short amount of time. Ryguy had just hit level 12, and then I turn around and Ryguy's already at level 13. That was over 1,000 experience gap now between Darren and Ryguy in the top race.
Yeah, I mean, Axe Knight is a really, really fast grind when you have Hurt More, and as we can see, it's also looks like it's a pretty fast grind when you just have nice, good, strong attack power. I think he's taking most of them down in 2 swings, 3 at the max, and it looks like they're not damaging him very much. I don't think these particular Axe Knights had any superpowers.
I believe I saw a Dragon Lord breath from the Axe Knight, but it's got to be a very low percentage. I wasn't paying close attention to every fight. I think I saw it once out of all of that. Yep, 25% as I would have expected.
Yeah, and they're casting Stop Spell the rest of the time, so that's practically free, except for when it's not, and then he hits you for, you know, whatever. You've got the hit points to soak it.
Yeah, definitely with good hit points here, as long as you don't let that drain down without healing, and with Erdrick's armor to mitigate that damage. Darren is in Garenham. However, Darren doesn't have keys, so Darren picks up a large shield, but we will still not get a check of the back of Garenham as Pav clears Mountain Cave underneath home. Pav has about a 1,500 experience lead over Smashy. Smashy has had sword and armor for a little bit, but hasn't been able to take advantage of that and gain as much experience as Pav has here. Pav does not have Erdrick's sword, and so all else being equal, Pav's fights are taking a little bit more time. Looks like Pav is going to get coordinates information from Cantlin and will be on the way to getting the coordinates, and I believe we'll find the Stones Cave on the way to coordinates, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think on the Pav v Smashy side, we've got a little bit more exploration on the right, a little bit more experience on the left. We've seen on Ryguy's screen that Axe Knight grind is really, really fast, so I think that the experience points can swing. It just depends on if they both decide to do it, how soon they decide to do it, and how long it takes to get all that exploration done on the left side versus the right.
Yeah, definitely. If you're behind on experience, if you're not gaining a lot of XP on the way, you certainly hope to find everything that you need to as quickly as possible, so then you can sit on a dedicated grind and catch up on experience as quick as possible. Of course, none of the players can see what any of the others are doing, so it's just based off of feel of if you feel behind or where you're at. And an excellent dodge there on Smashy's first strike on the Axe Knight. That's nice.
It is nice, but, you know, speaking of being where you need to be, this is exactly where Smashy needs to be on the position where he's at. He's got the homework bits that Pav hasn't done, and he's sitting on probably the best grind available. So he very well might make up the 1,500 experience points. Oh, no, he decides to get out of there. He doesn't want this Axe Knight. Maybe he wants to just make sure he's dead-ended first.
Pav starting the coordinates count. In the top race, Darren made it to Rimuldar and found keys, so Ryguy is our last of our 4 players to acquire keys. We'll see when Ryguy gets... Or did Ryguy... Ryguy must have gotten keys, yeah. Don't listen to me.
It looks like he's got them. I also missed it, but I trust our trackers.
It makes sense. After exiting Swamp Cave, Rimuldar was right there.
Yeah, if you're gonna grind the swamp, you might as well walk through it and check. You never know, it might put you in the back of Garenham.
Speaking of the back of Garenham, here's Smashy with that check.
See what we find. Torch. Wings. And torch. It's just the warehouse for the item shop.
And underneath, will it be grave or tablet? It is grave. We'll see what the top 3 chests are, and if Smashy decides to do a deep dive of the last 2 chests of grave here.
I kind of think you do, because, like, 2 checks versus 1, right? And you know where it is. And there's a fighter's ring.
Makes sense. Doesn't have full resources, didn't stay at the inn, but 39 MP probably... Oh, we're going to get an outside, so we don't need to ponder that.
Outside?
Yeah, I think Smashy has seen everything else besides Tablet Cave. Or no, it hasn't not cleared Hawksness for the harp.
Ah, so yeah, there's other spicier spots than down there, according to Smashy's knowledge. Yeah, that fighter's ring is actually nice, especially when we see, like, Ryguy, who's at 13, he's at 123. Fighter's ring would, you know, if you were at that level, would put you at 125 AP. which, you know, with the magic points and some fairy waters, maybe makes you consider going. I don't have the spreadsheets in front of me exactly with that, but you might think about it.
We're getting awfully close. Like, level 14 might be enough. Some more strength and a little bit more HP and MP will do it. Pav finally is able to get to Stone's Cave and get the sword, and appears to have picked up Erdrick's token from the coordinates. Chad is noting that Ryguy, we misfound Tablet Cave, and within Tablet Cave was the fairy's flute.
Oh, fair enough. I guess lots of people have found that Tablet Cave, because I see a lot of flutes on the screen.
These quads have a lot of action to keep up with. Thanks, everyone, for our trackers and chat for keeping us honest here.
A lot of flutes.
So Smashy, coming back to Garenham, I bet Smashy is going to stay at the inn and then dive grave, especially if we didn't think that Smashy had seen Tablet, but if Smashy has... Oh, no, we're not going to get a grave dive. Must be relying on, counting on Hawksness, which is, we know is the correct answer, that the harp is in Hawksness. That's the last outstanding item for Smashy here.
Yeah, and I don't think that we've seen any belts, regardless of... I know that we've seen many search spots, but I don't think we've seen any cursed belts, have we?
No, I don't believe so. So now we have Pav clearing the top of Grave. We'll see if Pav gets a dive here. Meanwhile, Ryguy is clearing Mountain Cave. Picked up the Stones of Sunlight.
Very good. And there's a Fighter's Ring for Pav. Dropping his Dragon Scale for it. Does not put it on. Now he puts it on. Smashy back at the top of the map. He's looking. Not for this blue dragon. He's looking for something. Looking for Hawksness.
Meanwhile, in the top race, Ryguy is making here to Cantlin. Going to get the coordinates information, and should be a short walk to the coordinates to get the token. And then at that point, Ryguy will be grinding go and already be awfully close to go with experience.
Yeah, he's one or two good overworld monsters away from not even have to grind and go. Assuming the next level, level 14, comes with a mediocre amount of...
Yeah, with Darren going against Ryguy in the top race, Darren will need to get back to home and clear Mountain Cave to get the stones and do exactly what Ryguy is doing here and getting the coordinates information. So it's just, for Darren, it's a matter of time of when Darren gets back home and does those two checks. Ryguy counting the coordinates immediately, last piece that needs to be done. Meanwhile, and Smashy gets level 11. Was that couldn't have been another metal slime that I took down to get that.
Not sure if it was or not. I was checking out Pav's screen, who's about to once he gets past this Axe Knight, he's about to make the big U-turn to catch chest 4 of the grave. He is doing this dive here. We know that there won't be anything great down there because the harp is in Hawksness, but Pav doesn't know that. And that's going to give Smashy a chance to continue to catch up, right? He's got that XP deficit. So everything that Pav does that Smashy doesn't do gives Smashy a chance to get back into this bracket.
It does help Pav that Pav is taking down some additional monsters down here and continuing to gain experience while on the dive. For Smashy's sake, Smashy would want to find Hawksness as soon as possible. As we know, that's the last item missing for the harp, as well as Pav, but Pav's not going to get to it from Deep Grave. And there it is for Smashy, finds Hawksness. Meanwhile, Darren is back home, which is where Darren needs to be. These races are getting pretty tight.
They absolutely are. Like, it's kind of hard to tell who's winning the two races. I feel like Ryguy's got a pretty good advantage here on the top race, but the bottom one I think is still either runner can hit it.
2520 appeared to be the stats at level 14. That's not going to be enough, so Ryguy's going to stick on the Axe Knight grind and go to level 15.
Yeah, so yeah, and they'll just hang out here. He's on the grind, so this doesn't hurt him, it doesn't benefit him. You just sit there and fight him more. I guess if anything it benefits him because he's already on it.
So now Smashy picked up the harp from Hawksness. Smashy has all the items needed, just needs to go to the trading caves and then decide what to grind. Will Smashy grind the Axe Knight as well in Swamp Cave, or will Smashy decide to do something else here? Smashy is the player who needs to catch up the most on experience, but it didn't seem to hinder Smashy that much in exploration. Was able to find and get to all the items relatively safely. Not a lot of costly deaths on the overworld.
Yeah, he's got all the homework done. He knows about the Axe Knight because he did go check that spike, and it looks like that spike was specifically checked to see if it was a good grind or not, because he checked it, it was an Axe Knight, it was a good grind, and then he noped the heck out of there and continued his exploration. So I think that he would go back to it, but maybe he's seen something that he thinks is better. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe sometimes you think twice about an Axe Knight grind when you don't have hurt more. But as Ryguy has shown, this is a very grindable Axe Knight.
The other consideration is how far away from a healing town is the grind that you're going to go for, especially when you're just starting at now level 12 for Smashy. Swamp Cave is right next to healing towns, while the other option, the Golem in Hawksness, I don't think Hawksness was right next to a healing town. Certainly not as close as Rimuldar was to Swamp Cave. As Smashy begins to trade-ins, Darren is doing the coordinates count, is going to be picking up Airdrick's token here shortly. So then Darren will be grinding go as well. Pav needs to get that silver harp from Hawksness.
Yeah, now you're asking about Hawksness being close to a healing town. No, Hawksness is the healing town for your Sharlock dive, because Hawksness is like right in front of Sharlock. Usually it's a nice place like Breckenary or Cole or something, but this time the town next to Sharlock is Hawksness.
And it looks like Smashy is going on the Axe Knight as well. And also a good point from Beta in chat, and as we're seeing here on the screen, despite the occasional DL2 breath shot, with all of the stop spells that the Axe Knights are throwing, you might not even need to do all that much healing. I'm curious, how many levels will Smashy gain without having to heal here, starting with 65 MP, just hit level 12 a moment ago. We'll see how long Smashy can make this grind go, and we'll see how long this grind has to go for Ryguy, who's just a couple of Axe Knights away from level 15.
Yeah, magic number for level 15 is 7,500 experience points at 135 per Axe Knight. Ryguy's got 2 more to go.
Darren picking up the Rainbow Drop, completing the trade-ins, and we'll see where Darren chooses to grind. Looks like Darren, for the moment, is going to Hawksness.
I think Pav might be on the path to Sharlock. I think it's like around here, and like close, but south and to the east a bit. Like around here to the east, maybe.
Ryguy here with this Axe Knight hits level 15. Let's take a look at the stat gains. 0, 0, 42,
Death
2.
Necklace, go.
Hurt Radiant and Hurt more.
Go. Death Necklace, you picked it up. Go. Go. No strength, by the way. Well, I guess we got 10 strength because you can put the Death Necklace on now.
Yep. I think we need to consider that a 10 strength level with the death necklace. So Ryguy returning home seems to agree. Looks like we're going to have a fill up here of MP free in Tantagel, and then likely headed to Charlock, and we'll see what Charlock holds for us here as Smashy continues to grind. Pav continues to look for Hawksness and may have found it right here, and Darren continues to grind golems.
Yep, Pav's found his Hawksness. He's found his rainbow drop guy. Smashy already on the Axe Knight grind, still 1,000 points down, but by the time Pav can get here, I think he will have at least evaporated that lead, if not taken it. On the top, yep, Ryguy, he's got everything he needs. He's going for it. Darren doing the golem grind, which I think we concluded it's just too far to sustain, but it might be a decent grind for, you know, the current MP pool that you have, and then maybe go to the swamp after. We'll see what he decides to do. Like Pav wants those golems too. Oh, Pav is getting his harp. Never mind, this is his first golem.
Yes, so Pav gets to Hawksness here. Still has an experience lead over Smashy, but that gap has closed quickly and will continue to close with every Axe Knight that Smashy takes down. Ryguy gets a Charlock entrance at about 53 minutes and 40 seconds.
Nothing too horrible so far. We've seen wizards, we've seen werewolves. Makes you wish you grinded that silver shield so you could repel them. I don't know if they would be at this point or not, but I like to taunt the silver shield haters out there.
Well, that would put up to 88 defense. That would be grinding a handful of Charlock enemies. Ryguy here, unless something goes really wrong on the Charlock dive, should be in good shape here to finish, although there's a lot of variables here in any Charlock. Meanwhile, the bottom race, pretty tight here with Pav and Smashy. Pav getting the harp looks like it's going to take a few more golems, since being right here in Hawksness might not be the final grind, but as you alluded to, Valevi, being here already, fighting a few more golems and then getting the refill and deciding what to do from there might be the way to go. Still about 1,000 experience point lead over Smashy at the moment.
Yeah, the golems and the red dragons are kind of the meta monsters to fight because they have 350 experience points build of the randomizer. Two got their XP increased, so they are very lucrative fights. They put the Axe Knight, they give it a run for its money. This particular Axe Knight, I think, has the advantage because of the stop spell of it. But yeah, the golem is still an excellent grind, and in this case, you know, you've got your harp. Use your entire MP pool. Get the refill. You get sent home. You get your refill. Turn in your harp, and you know, probably you don't come back to the golem, but you've gotten a good chunk of experience out of that. Like Pav is now 500 points away from the go level. So even though Smashy has been sitting on this Axe Knight, Pav still might hit the go level first.
Meanwhile, on Ryguy's Charlock dive, got stopped by a red dragon temporarily, burned a couple of herbs, but is now going up the U and going to be across the straightaway and hitting the basement already. Darren, a couple of golems and or other enemies away from hitting level 15, so a full dive lead, it appears, here for Ryguy at the moment over Darren. We'll have to watch though and see what happens with Ryguy as we approach the spike and take on the Dragon Lord.
Yep, here's a red dragon. This red dragon puts Pav one Charlock monster away. Again, like, I agree. I think that the Axe Knight is the better grind, but just given this particular situation, I think Pav might still get there sooner. Now, does Pav have the Death Necklace? Because that changes things.
Oh, it certainly does. We don't have it noted on the tracker. Where was the death necklace? Someone refresh my memory. It was at home. Aha. Okay, so Pav likely has the death necklace from that. Okay.
And this golem here will get him to the go level. So really, Pav is not grinding go. He's just go. Turn in your harp and stuff and go.
Yeah, meanwhile, Smashy has a couple of Axe Knights still to go. At the top race, Ryguy got through the Golem and the Sharlock Spike, puts on the Death Necklace for a 25% reduction of hit points, but the benefit of a 10-point addition in attack power is going to be ideal stats and a favorite to defeat the Dragon Lord heal, barring a mismenu or something wild happening. Getting some friendly stop spells from DL1, that worked out well also. So Smashy is, quick math, 2 Axe Knights away, 2 or 3 Axe Knights away. Should be able to get that without having to heal up. Meanwhile, Pav does the trade-ins and is looking to head towards Sharlock. This could be simultaneous dives very close here between Pav and Smashy as Ryguy continues here on with the Dragon Lord fight. Should be in good position here to take down the Dragon Lord. Dragon Lord has a hit point range between 150 and 165.
I have not been counting his damage, but I feel like this is a pretty safe fight. He has to like roll really lowly, which just doesn't happen that often, you know, consistently. It always reverts to the mean.
Yeah, especially with 135 attack power, that's not an extremely high attack power, so you're not going to see a lot of doesn't have a high deviation within there. As you get higher attack power, the range of your swings increases, so you can really get burned by a series of low rolls. A little more concentrated range here with 135, and with the heal mores and 110 HP, it shouldn't be a problem here. Probably a couple of swings away, might even have 1 or 2 heal mores to spare, depending on how well the damage has rolled.
Absolutely, and on the lower left screen, Pav did exactly as we said. He hit level 15, he went and just turned in that rainbow drop and went to Sharlock right away. So he's got the go level, he's going down. So it looks like Pav leading this race in the bottom here as Smashy is getting ready to refill before going. And Ryguy just a couple swings away. There it is, actually. Get those GGs out for Ryguy as he finishes first and forces a game 3 in the top race there.
That was a great run from Ryguy. It seems like the patience of after finding sword and armor. Ryguy was the first player, if I'm not mistaken, to acquire both Erdrick's sword and Erdrick's armor. Probably felt a little bit late to armor, but then sat on that Axe Knight grind and was able to quickly then wrap up the last exploration and get to level 15 before any of the players on screen. Darren is at 15 and looks like was continuing to grind here to 16. So even if something had gone wrong there for Ryguy and Sharlock, Darren was continuing to grind. Didn't feel good about 15. Might have miscalculated Death Necklace math. That was always tricky for me for a long time. Meanwhile, in the bottom race, Smashy walking around might have mislocated a trade-in cave and Sharlock. The rainbow drop was right by Sharlock, wasn't it? Where is Smashy going?
I'm not sure where Smashy is going, because yes, the rainbow drop trade was right next to Sharlock. Just Hawksness, 3 tiles to the left, rainbow drop, 3 more tiles to Sharlock. So, oh, there he is. He's there.
Pav is already in basement 4 and now is going down the U, almost an entire Sharlock dive ahead here of Smashy. Smashy does have full resources, so it's going to drop immediately and head in, but probably, 2 to 3 minute lead, all else being equal here for Pav. We'll see if the encounter rate tries to balance things out between the two players.
Yeah, it's very, very close. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, Pav in the lead here. There's no question about that. They're both the same stats. They're both going for the dive, and Pav is further along the footpath. So it's really gonna take a bad Dragon Lord for this to go Smashy's way. But there's an Arbor Knight, so that could throw a wrench in the problem. Yeah. I feel like they've got decent agility, though, which should help with the running.
Should help. So Pav is rounding the top here of the basement. Smashy is in basement 2, so Pav has maintained a considerable lead here going through Sharlock. Darren is continuing and looking to finish off the seed as well, although Ryguy has gotten the victory here. Darren looking to finish off the seed as well. We'll watch that Sharlock dive and Dragon Lord battle as well, assuming Darren continues on. Pav will be the first to reach the Golem Sharlock spike.
Like we've got a rainbow drop into Charlock Moat for Darren. I like to think that a rainbow drop is really just all of the slimes mixed together, like a red one, a blue one, a metal one. There's green slimes. Names.
I like that. I never thought of that. All the slimes we've defeated on the way. Pav, using the flute, is able to take down the golem, healing up with the herbs and the extra heal there with the MP. Very smart there of Pav. I'm not sure how many herbs left in the inventory, but good use of resources into the Dragon Lord fight, and is going to equip the Death Necklace as well as Smashy hits the bottom floor.
Yeah, we're literally one bottom floor difference on the bottom race. This is very, very close. But still, clear advantage to Pav. I think that he's got this. Let's try to get a count this time. I'm going to try to count. Watch me fail at math, chat. Here we go. Back attack by the DL. Opens with a 10.
Smashy accidentally chose the fighter's ring instead of the flute, so burned a turn there on the golem.
10 and 9 is 19.
We've got Ryguy here in the booth. We'll chat with you, Ryguy, here in just a moment after the Dragon Lord fights.
We're looking at 31. $31 and 9 is 40. $40 and 15 is 55. $55 add 15 is what? 65, 70. $85. That's 3 15s in a row, by the way. $99. $101. No, $111. $121. That's a multiple of 11. 137. $149. Next swing ought to do it. Unless he's a high rolling dragon. Nope. We're good to go with 100 and, I don't know, 64, something like that. That's a dead Dragon Lord for sure. Smashy, hot on his heels. Have no idea what that count is. About a floor's difference, I would imagine. But get those GGs
count,
out.
But Smashy did get some very impressive rolls. Got an opening double of 17 and 13, and I saw some good rolls in there along the way. So this is just going to be a 1 to 2 minute difference here. Meanwhile, Ryguy, you've been sitting here patiently during the wrap up of this other race. GG's, Ryguy.
Thank you. No, I've been watching this. This was kind of what I was scared about as I was fighting the Dragon Lord and, waiting to see if it was fast enough or whatever. We almost had 3 Dragon Lord 2s on 4 screens here at the same time. So very quick, tight seed here.
And it's interesting because all 4 of you, even though it's a 2-on-2, 1-on-1 and 1-on-1 race, watching all 4 of you take different directions throughout the seed, different sequence in getting the Erdrick's sword and Erdrick's armor. And we had noted that you were the last, I believe, to get one of the Erdrick's items. Everyone else had at least one of them, but you were the first to get both sword and armor. You took a death after getting the sword, which sent you back home and put you on the path to finding Cole and getting Erdrick's armor.
Yeah, that's what worried me a lot, actually, about this. Like, it was clearly a jet seed, and I spent a lot of time grinding at the beginning because the couple times I set out, I saw, red dragon, golem, blue dragon, all this nonsense. So I kind of stuck by home and grinded for a while. And then as I finally set out, I find there's a cave that has the sword sitting in it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I get killed and go look, oh, Cole's up there with the armor. Like, okay. Well, this stuff was just sitting there the whole time, huh? Well, that worried me a little bit. But I mean, I think I found everything like the perfect order afterwards, right? I think I got like Hawksness in the Harp, then found Harp Cave, then found Swamp in that perfect grind, then found the whatever stones in back home, and then the coordinates had to be the tokens. Everything else just fell into place. So I was like, oh, that's probably fine.
It seemed that way, and one of the big differences is you took a significant experience lead once you got into Swamp Cave, and instead of continuing on through, you sat on that Axe Knight and grinded for a couple of levels, I think from like level 9 or 10 up to level 13 in rather short order, and you maintained the experience lead over Darren for the rest of the seed from that point on as you continued your exploration and was able to repel a lot of unfavorable encounters along the way.
Yeah, at that point, I was only missing the stones and tokens, so it's, nothing super urgent. And when you find that guy who's just free, I saw no reason not to just sit there and take, basically get almost ghost stats, essentially. I got right next to ghost stats before I left. I didn't even know about the DL2 breath, but even once I found out about the DL2 breath, I'm like, it doesn't matter. He's not using that very often. So, yeah, I figured why not get basically my grind done here and limit the deaths, because I knew there were a bunch of evil Sherlockians running around the map. So, seemed like a good time to do it.
Meanwhile, our last runner on screen, Darren, is about to finish the Dragon Lord fight, probably just a swing or 2 away. We have our other runners from our bottom race here in the booth as well. Okay, first get our GGs out in chat for Darren, get the Dragon Lord down, and then introduce our bottom 2 players, starting with the victor of the bottom race, Pav. GG.
Yeah, thank you. Another zoomy one, so that makes me happy because I'm quite tired. But GG Smashy, interested to see was so close. So it seemed like pretty zoomy, played pretty well, so I'm excited to watch this back.
I think it's going to be a very interesting watch. There is some differences between all four players, but in particular, the top race and the bottom race. It was interesting, even though the top race, Darren and ryguy, doesn't directly affect you. Both Darren and ryguy seem to order things differently than both you and Smashy. Both of you were last and late to Hawksness. That was the last location that was needed. Both ryguy and Darren found Hawksness and got their silver harp relatively early. Smashy made up a little bit of time by not diving grave and by committing to the Axe Knight grinds, which seemed to be going very well for Smashy. Was able to grind, I believe, at least the whole sequence from level 12 or so all the way up to 15 without having to do a refill. But you were able to get that early experience lead, being patient on those early enemies, and that seemed to carry that experience lead through the rest of the seed, and you were able to pull it out within a minute of Smashy there. It's a very tight race.
Yeah, and that hero walk to the armor was probably a factor as well, I imagine.
Yes, you were the first player to Erdrick's armor, so yeah, early hero walk to Cole, that allowed you to defense break the early enemies. That definitely allowed you to be patient and take down those good fights there and take down the wolves and set you up before having to press out.
Yeah, and with the low agility for the first quite a few levels, I was just going to sit on there until I was around 40, and we got a big boost up to 48. I was like, all right, I can move out now, since like everything was running from me in that zone anyway.
So Smashy joining us in chat quickly. Yes, it was very close race between both Pav and Smashy. Very similar paths. Just since Pav took the early experience lead and was able to hold on to that and able to finish just within a minute. Very competitive race. Well played by all four of our participants. ryguy, as we wrap up here on the broadcast this evening, do you have any final thoughts? You're taking your series with Darren to game 3.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone watched or saw game 1, but in that one, I never found Garenham, and that cost me the whole race. So it was somewhat, cathartic to not even need it in this seed and skip the whole thing. That was beautiful. Don't know where it is, don't care where it is. That town can just get nothing useful there. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, otherwise, that was... that everything kind of fell into place nicely in that seed. Kind of nice to have a little 1 hour deal after our 2+ hour slog that me and Darren had before. So nice little palate cleanser.
And when is your third race scheduled for?
Saturday, question mark? We just scheduled the first 2 and tentatively were like, we'll figure out Saturday if we know. But I think we decided Saturday morning, afternoon sometime. But we got to finalize that.
Oh, great. So you have a couple of days to think about it. On the other side of it, Pav, 2 straight in a very competitive series against Smashy, who is a longtime player of Dragon Warrior Randomizer, very competitive, a couple of close races. It doesn't matter how much you win by. If you win by less than a minute or by 20 minutes, a win is a win, and you pulled off 2 wins and advancing now to the round of 16. What are your final thoughts here as you sweep the series and move on next week?
I just want to say GG to Smashy. Pretty great tournament from you in your group with Angel and Slamu and Artorias and Cyberdark, and I forget the 5th one, but still, that is a great group to go second in. So congratulations on your tournament. Looking forward to play Chris. As soon as he wants to schedule races, we can schedule races. But yeah, I got much to say. Other than that, let's go. Let's make it to the finals, baby.
All right. right, we're getting ourselves a raid out of here set up. We do have another quadcast scheduled for tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the same setup. 2 races playing the same seed. Tons of Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament action, especially this week in the round of 16, or in the round of 24, and next week in the round of 16. Calling all volunteers, if you'd like to join us for commentary and tracking here. We're going to be looking for volunteers for tomorrow evening. We appreciate the help, as well as broadcasts continuing on throughout the rest of the week and the weekend and next week. Can't do it without our awesome volunteers, as well as our runners. Appreciate all of our participants here as we get our raids set up. Look forward to joining everyone again tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Any last thoughts here, Velavi? Want to take us home?
Hey, sure. It's been an excellent race tonight. Fantastic matchups on both the top and the bottom. Super close races. I love it when I see 2 or 3 Dragon Lords on the screen at a time, or, just, a couple minutes. What is this? Less than 4 minutes between first and fourth. So super, super exciting races. We've got more Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament happening all throughout this week, next week, and the weeks beyond as we close out these brackets. For now, we've got Jair, who is doing a Final Fantasy 1 NES challenge run. I think he's doing a Red Mage challenge, which should be super fun. He's a prolific Final Fantasy speedrunner, so puts on a wonderful show, so I think you guys should enjoy that. So otherwise, I am Velu V. I'm saying good night. Make sure you give a follow to all of our runners and our Restream crew. If you're thinking that you're watching this and maybe you want to talk over this or do some of the restreaming yourself, feel free to volunteer on the Discord. Otherwise, have a great night. We'll see you next time.